I'm Alec Doherty, and I'm an illustrator and artist. It's kind of interesting listening to Takina talk about her hometown and how she went back to her hometown to find her identity, because it's slightly what I'm going to talk about as well. So I'm from a place called Darlington in the northeast. Anyway, I'm a total newbie to doing this. I've never done this before, so a little bit nervous. But it's also been really fascinating putting this whole thing together. It's the first time I've kind of actually sat and analysed my work. Not naked, but and I found this common theme that's running throughout all of my work, which has been really enlightening for me, actually, and that's my adolescence. So this is me, with my football trophy for most enthusiastic player. So I kind of noticed this not just only in my themes, but also in my style and approach to the things that I'm doing. There's like this adolescence to it. And there's a sense of kind of mischief and a sense of like rebellion in there and a sense of naivety to it as well. So, and like a teenager, I've got a really short attention span. So I like fad about and I want to do one thing and change it up all the time and get bored really quickly. And this has kind of affected my work. However, growing up, I always wanted to be a graphic designer. So that's me in the middle. Yeah. That's my sister Sophie. So I'm a big sis Soph. She's a graphic designer, and that's Charlie in the white there. I'm actually one of 7. I'm the baby of 7, so probably a bit of a brat. But I think my mum might address me that day as well, just to let you know. Anyway, so I studied graphic design and I managed to get a job in it somehow, and then I realised I wasn't very good at it. So, like a teenager, I just quit with no idea what I was going to do at all, and no way of paying the rent either, so it was not very clever of me. But what happened was a friend opened a brewery up, and he said, "Oh, will you help me out with a couple of illustrations?" This was kind of a couple of labels, and this was my kind of first break as an illustrator. And he gave me a lot of freedom to do what I want, so I'd like put these drawings that I'd been doing onto the bottles. So, and people started to see them, and to my great surprise, I started to pick up a few commissions, which was amazing. And having this kind of first break, one of the kind of first misconceptions I had was that I needed to like hone in this style. I thought I was really important to being a successful illustrator. This is some of my early work I just thought I'd share with you. At this point, I'm trying really hard to be really consistent in my work. I just didn't really find it very satisfying. I felt quite stifled in my creativity, and I got bored of it. So what happened was, going back to my childhood again as a reference point, growing up, my old man, that's my old man in the fez, I think he thought he was like Tommy Cooper or something, but he had this magic shop growing up. It's with loads of his magician friends. It was a magic shop, but actually, they sold mainly fake poos. Sorry, Dad. And then he had an antique shop. It's a bit of a joke on my dad, so it's called Rotten Swindlers. That was his antique shop. So growing up, my house was full of, stuff. So magic tricks and antiques and, sculptures. And they collected, lots of African antiquities and stuff. I remember, friends would come around and they'd be like, "Who are these? What is all? Are your mum and dad in a voodoo or something like that?" It's anyway. So, but what I realised from this is that I'm really interested in objects. Moving from the 2D, I was really struggling to find this consistency in the 2D space. So I kind of pushed away from it and I started to experiment with 3D. So this is my first little experiment, and it was a new step in my career essentially. So it started with these small wooden sculptures. This is Mary, Dora, Derek, and Steve. My dad's actually called Steve, and my mate there, his dad's called Derek. All right. What am I talking about? Yeah. So these guys. So I used to go to this little working men's club in Darlington. It's called the Engineers, and we used to go down with my parents when we were teenagers. And it was a Northern Soul, I think, the last Saturday of every month. We'd go down, have a sneaky beer, and these are just kind of fond memories that I remember of the oldies getting down and having a bit of a boogie. So and a drink. So this kind of teen theme continued with some larger reliefs. These ones are based, it's kind of scale them up slightly. These ones are based on like an under-18s nightclub that I used to go to called Wesley's. And I tried to find some pictures, but I couldn't find any. But I found this in the Northern Echo, which is quite funny, a description of it, so I'll read it out to you. So it's Wesley's in Darlington, opened in June 1987 as a way of helping young people to get off the streets, away from the lure of drink, drugs, and glue sniffing. So little did they know we were just doing that inside Wesley's instead. Never glue. Stay away from the Pritt sticks. So this is me like illustrating a typical night out there. So you'd have a little bit of a boogie with your friends, have a little bit of a dance. You try and avoid getting into a fight. And if you're really lucky, you get a snog. Yeah. I never got a snog. I don't know why. So having developed that, I brought it back into my first project, which is Partisan, which I just showed you guys, and like kind of moving things forward from the 2D space to a 3D space. I made these taps for their new tap room, and I like to call these like functional sculptures. So they're like beer taps, they pour beer out of them, but they're also decorative, and they represent milestones in the brewery's history. So we've got like the brewery cat. This is Dina. She's like a working cat. She's pretty amazing. She's always hanging about. She's really affectionate and lovely. And so this is my interpretation of her in tap form. So in like Sphinx-like glory. I don't know what that means. And then this is another milestone. So it's like the first beer they ever brewed, which was the stout. So I like really like literal interpretations of stuff. So this is like a stout, muscly guy, really quite out there. And then this is like a homage, or an homage. Cheers, squeeze. To another brewery called Redemption, who helped Partisan and Andy get on his feet. So they wanted to have this homage to Redemption, and this is my interpretation of what Redemption is. It's a prisoner looking up to the sky for redemption. Maybe a film reference there when I think about it. But anyway, so they're still going strong in Bermondsey. I'm still working with them after 7 years, so they deserve an award for that, definitely. So pushing this 3D further, I've always wanted to make some like big stuff. So this was my first large-scale relief that I made for a lobby and a new tower block in Stratford. Just completed at the start of this year. Just gonna have a sip of water, sorry. Thanks. So these are a few process shots of that. So this is the Happy Hanger, like a working title, because it's a really shit name. It's 3.5 meters square. It's made of steel and wood. It weighs a fucking ton, literally a ton. And it represents London in 2012 because it's in the ex-Olympic Park. So yeah, I made this with a couple of guys called East Productions down in Lewis. Amazing guys. Without them, I wouldn't have been able to do this whole project. It was real scary and quite fantastic making something this big and seeing my work scale, and I experimented a lot with it, different materials, and then I learned a lot and I had a lot of fun making it. It's in this place called the Victoria Plaza. If you do get the chance and you're in the area, knock in, have a look at it, because it does something quite different when you actually see it in the flesh, as it were. Yeah. And it's a selfie of me. I just decided to put me in my own work, like a little Tarantino narcissistic moment that I had there. Yeah. So I'm going to move on to something else. So without this project I'm going to show you, I don't think I'd have got that previous project. So this was like affirmation for me that making stuff and like moving about and being like inconsistent was actually been a positive influence on my stuff. So it was like changing people's perceptions of what I was capable of, as well as my own perceptions, which was really kind of quite liberating. So about 2 years ago, I started making some jewelry, like just for a bit of fun, really. I just started doing it for me. I wanted a pinky, couldn't find one. And then I shared it, and my mate started wearing them. And then, to my great surprise, people started to buy them. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. So this gave me like great confidence that I didn't need to hide these personal projects anymore. I could like, if I shared them, work would come out of that, like eventually. And it was also cool because I didn't need to like wait around for this right commission to come around to change the direction of my work. I could do that myself, and that was hugely liberating for me. So, and now it's one of those things that like people ask me about the most and like talk about. It's like, oh, do we? I love this ambiguity of what it is that I actually do. So, am I a jeweler? Am I like a sculptor? Oh, I'm an illustrator. Who knows? And I like that. It's cool. I just want to do different stuff because I'm a teenager and I just want to like mess about. So I made this pinky. So that's the wax on one side and the gold on the other. It's super crude and really naive, but I really like it. It's my one. And actually referencing so I think there's quite a lot of, we were talking about this last night when I was going through with my sister. But there's like quite a lot of references from like those African masks and stuff that were all around the house, and it's definitely influenced me quite a lot. So then I made a collection which I call me Mood Rings. And again, referencing my teens, and they're named after these rings. Does anyone remember these? Yeah, F1's 30. So like these were like, whoever doesn't know, but they were the colour changing rings I used to wear as a kid, and F1 had them, and they're like, I love objects and like the nostalgic power that they have over you. But so these are the mood rings, and yeah, here you go. So they'd tell you how you were feeling, so you'd be like, excited, like, I'm anxious, me right now. Great, like restless, bored and frustrated. Definitely me as an adolescent. Definitely quite frustrated because I never got snogged at Wesley's, did I? So, anyway, my rings are a take on moods and characters that I remember from growing up in Darlington circa 2000. So we got Dazed. Gonna have a little spin. Go on. Yeah, nice one. We have Broken Nose. Is you gonna do it? Have a little work it. Yeah. And then I don't know how to make this go faster. Ecstasy. Yeah. Bit of a misspent youth there. Moving on. So I also, in a similar period of time, I made these pendants, which I call Good Day, Bad Day. And you can wear them depending on like how you're feeling that day. So you can wear them good day, bad day. And I think this is something we all experience in life. And it was kind of significant for me in reflection because at the time I was making these, I was like having a little bit of a turbulent time. And it's kind of expressive how I was feeling that period of time, and now to a certain extent. So, and it's a bit of a big deal for me, like sharing work about feelings, because I do a lot of commercial work and it's pretty dry. But it's something that I've kind of embraced in my work, that brings me to my latest project. So this is something I've not done before so directly, which is making work about my own personal experiences. I'm going to have another sip. Cool, sorry. So again, I'm returning to my adolescence, and I think there's Ralph. So adolescence, the reason I think this is because I've hit my 30s, only just hit my 30s. Hence the hairline is just it's fine. So anyway, it's a time of uncertainty for me personally, and actually, like, when you think about it in a global context, what the hell is going on in the world? So I'm feeling some of the same things that I was feeling now as I was as a teenager. So, like, anxiety, bit of anger, excitement about the new, and I'm also exploring different ways of expressing myself, which is kind of what you do as a teenager, essentially. So depicting these like significant moments is a way of me figuring out who I am, essentially. So I've also noticed this in like the mark making that I'm doing is returning to this point. It's like, and it's not something that I've attempted to do. It's just happened naturally. So it's like more spontaneous and childlike and quite naive, which I think embodies these like emotions that I'm feeling right now. Yeah. So sorry, it's quite serious, isn't it? So I'm going to take you through a couple of them. And try and explain a little bit what I'm trying to do. I'm not entirely sure that I've figured that out yet. But this is like my first day at school. So it's about like a little bit of social anxiety with like people around us. The mark making this is super naive and it's like undeveloped, but I kind of like that as well, the looseness about it. yeah, and this could relate to any other subject as well, so it doesn't have to be like school. It's like me being here now, surrounded by you lot, and the anxieties that causes. I'm quite comfortable now, actually, it's fine. Yeah, there's me. That was me just before I came on. That's like, yeah, I've just aged as I come up. No, yeah, my first day at school, very nervous about the new things that I was going to experience. Yeah, some slightly darker ones. It's me getting my head kicked in. Happens quite a few times. But the reason I approached this is because it was formative for me. A scary time and not something that was pleasant at all, obviously. But I created these lifelong relationships through these moments in time, and they are, they're quite formative. So I'm approaching these to kind of try and discover something, essentially. Yeah, that's me getting my head bruised up with my friend, and then going raving. So music is hugely important in all of our lives, I think. And these moments when you're on a dance floor with people, sweating it out, it's like that you build these bonds and these friendships, and that you have these these really kind of important memories that are attached to them. It can be quite cathartic in some ways. And then this sounds like a weird one, drinking in the park. But yeah, this is relates to me doing things that are a bit naughty, probably shouldn't be really doing, and that's a way that you learn what you like and what you don't like, and that's really important in our development as human beings, and also embarrassing yourself as well, and learning from those embarrassments, I guess. Lost love, unrequited love. Sure, we all have stories about this. But yeah, so I think that our stories make us who we are, and sharing our stories is a way to understand each other and ourselves better. So yeah, so this is the start of this project, essentially. I'm not sure where it's going to go, but what I've been doing, which is in the little booklet, is I've been collecting. I was going to play some recordings, basically, but it sounds a bit too personal. But I've been collecting recordings and letters and texts and Facebook messages, a few voicemails from friends that have been telling me their stories. And so what I want to do is I want to narrate those stories, and sometime in the new year, I'd like to make an exhibition of them. If anyone has a space, or this is my pitch now, if anyone has any advice or a space, let me know, because I have no clue what I'm doing. So I guess it was coming to an end, all right? We're going to... my kind of takeaway from this is that I guess maybe I might be destined to be this perpetual teenager, or maybe by embracing all this and learning from it, I'll learn to grow up, essentially, and my work will develop from that. Time will tell. So anyway, that's my story. I hope you enjoyed it and not snoozed off. Thanks, It's Nice for having me. And whoever dropped out and I replaced, because that's how it must have worked, right? Thanks to them too. So I'm Alec Doherty. I'm on Instagram. Have you heard of that? Please follow me and come and have a conversation with me as well. Love to hear from you. Ta-ra for now.